Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you, and man, oh man, I honestly just finished a very good episode of Impact. This was one of the very special pay-per-view style episodes of Impact, No Surrender, and I am back on board for TNA's Bound for Glory. If you've been paying attention to my TNA videos for the last I don't know, good couple of months or something like that, I have been very down on going to this show, and I just thought that Impact as a whole is fallen off the face of the earth, and I just didn't like a lot of the ideas that they were putting out there. Now, this was a show that only had 4 matches, 1 in-ring promo, and some backstage shit. So basically, it wasn't going to be that hard to screw up. I mean, they were on a very good, it was the easiest track to success, I guess you can say. We're going to have to see how they can pan out from here. This was almost a night that almost didn't happen. I went to the gym, and what kind of a gym doesn't have the NFL Network? I know you don't go to the gym to basically, watch TV, but it's always on when you're in there. And my gym didn't have a subscription to the NFL Network, so that sucked. Came home, watched the game. The game was so bad that I fell asleep watching it. I woke up, and I was like, I was about to walk from the couch to go into bed, and I was, oh shit, Impact's on. So, being a little bit later at night, I had to go in there, and I pulled out the carton of ice cream, sat down, and we blew through the show, and it was fucking awesome. I'm so glad that I didn't have to wait until tomorrow, knowing that I would have listened to some reviews, knowing that I would have watched a couple videos, and would have been horribly spoiled for what was about to happen. This was an awesome show to go into, not knowing what was going to happen. Like I said, there was only 4 matches, 3 of them being Bound for Glory matches, 1 of them being a TNA World Heavyweight title match. First match of the night, AJ Styles versus Austin Aries. This was the best match to kick off the night. This was fucking awesome. AJ won this with a Styles clash off the second rope. Honestly, not the first time I've ever seen this, but I mean, a move like that is just beyond awesome. These guys know each other so well inside of the ring. They knew where everybody was going. I would bet that, 3/4 of this match was called inside of the ring. And, AJ Styles versus Austin Aries, you could have 1,000 matches, and I wouldn't complain. It was fucking awesome. Before the next match, you had the main event Mafia in the back giving a pep talk to Magnus. Sting was in there talking, and Magnus just cut him off. Magnus has said for the longest time, you guys put me in the main event Mafia saying that I was the future of the group. I don't want to be the future anymore. I want to be now. And that sort of put Magnus on the face of the earth. He went out there and had a match with Bobby Roode. Roode came out there with a ball of fire. He was coming out to basically, he wanted this thing bad, and you could tell. He didn't come out on top, but he looked really, really good in this match. It was a good match. I mean, there's not really a whole bunch you can say about it. The next match was the last man standing match. Hogan booked this before the when the show first started, and Bully Ray was in the ring, and you can tell that the story of this match was that Bully Ray really didn't want to fight Mr. Anderson. He gave the Ace and Eights a big pep talk before the match, trying to make sure they were on his side and not on Mr. Anderson's side, saying that he was the foundation of the group. He put this group together, and without them, basically they were nothing. Anderson got the first good part of the match in, and Bully Ray was actually running for Mr. Anderson around the ring. It was honestly pretty funny. At one point, he grabbed Christy Hemme and was using him as a shield, knowing that Mr. Anderson wouldn't hit him. And from there, he moved around behind the announce table and ran around the ring. Funny spot was, though, he ran into... he just ran to a spot, turned around, and just sort of stood there and waited for Anderson to hit him. I think the camera had the wrong angle on what was going on. Another thing that happened before this match started, I apologize, was Dixie Carter and Hulk Hogan were sitting down in the back having a conversation. And from what I saw, I haven't really saw it on any news sites or anything like that. It seems that Bellator and Spike TV has pulled Rampage and Tito from TNA, maybe they won't be screwing the show up anymore. I think TNA got the most out of both of those guys. It would have been nice to see a Kurt Angle versus Rampage Jackson fight. I was really hyped up for that. That was one of my favorite moments of all of wrestling for this whole entire year. And I don't know, it is what it is. At the end of this, they were only there to hype up a pay-per-view fight that's going to happen in November. And it's not even for wrestling. It's for Bellator it's for Bellator, mixed martial arts. So I don't know. TNA probably got a little bit of buzz off it. They weren't able to capitalize off it. Hopefully they were able to sell some Rampage t-shirts. I don't think they even had Tito long enough to sell any merch. But more than likely, they're all gone. In the Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson match, Ace and Eights made their way down to the ring. That would be the Nux, Briscoe, and Bischoff, the last members that are left, since basically Tito's not there no more. And they fired Doc, and Mr. Anderson was in this match. That was it. Basically, Brooke hit Anderson in the balls. Ace and Eights came in, hit a triple power bomb just like the Shield. And then, what else happened? Then he got 3 shots. And then Bully hit him with the chain, I guess. And Anderson was still able to get up. He looked really good in this match. It's a shame that walking away out of this match, he ends up losing. He gets stretchered out because he takes a pretty good-looking table shot. He gets busted open. He's got blood pouring from the top of his head from the chain shot, and it looked really good. But once they wheel him out and they put him on the gurney, they push it all the way to the top of him on the stretcher. Bully Ray comes out there, kicks his ass a little bit more, gives him a pile driver right onto the stage, rips the vest off him, removing him from Aces and Eights. Basically, Mr. Anderson, you had a good night. You had an all-right run in Aces and Eights, being, I guess, promoting up to the vice president after D'Lo Brown left. But at the end of the day, if you're just going to be a normal guy in TNA, I hope you're going to be out for a good while, because if you come back in a week or 2 weeks, you're just another guy on the roster. I mean, you're not... AJ Styles is going to be looked at as the main guy. Sting's like the legend of the whole company. Then you got Samoa Joe and Magnus. They're main event mafia. They're going to be in some sort of a, elevated state up there. You got Roode, Daniels, and Kaz, who are going to be looking at being a pretty big deal right now because of what they did in the main event. And then there's you. You don't really have a big spot in TNA. And I don't know. Maybe this is you leaving. Maybe you can go somewhere else. And this is just the way they got you out of there. But I was real surprised. I think that Anderson has always been a good talent. I liked him in WWE as Mr. Kennedy. When he came over to TNA, I gave him the benefit of the doubt on his debut when Hogan brought him out. He said at any time he could become TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and he's done that twice. And both times they treated him like a goober and a geek, with him dropping the belt to once to Hardy and another time to somebody else. But they were very forgettable runs as TNA World Heavyweight Champion. If it'll ever happen again, I don't know. But honestly, I think that tonight's show will hopefully elevate him up the card a little bit, but there's no guarantees to that. But he did a very, very good job. And the match was awesome. His promos were awesome. And, much applause to Mr. Anderson. Hopefully TNA knows how much of a star they have on them. The main event of the night was AJ Styles and Magnus. This was the Bound for Glory finals, I guess you can say. It came down to number 1 and number 2 in the final points for the Bound for Glory series. AJ Styles, of course, winning the gauntlet last week that, not only shot him into the top 4, if he didn't win it, he wasn't going to be in the... he wasn't even going to be in the Final 4, and by him winning it, it made him number 1. Magnus, who I think was number 1 almost the whole time throughout the whole tournament, I think he came out to a big lead and just, he didn't really lose it. He just never won any of the big matches that were for 20 points like AJ did. I thought this was a good match. It definitely showed off the submission styles of AJ Styles and Magnus, and it wasn't like a real... I don't think you can really call it a technical match between AJ Styles and Austin Aries in the beginning. It just was a real good match where the two guys really knew each other's style. But there was it just, I don't even really know how to tell you what kind of a story they were working. It was just two guys, wanting to elevate themselves to go to the big, I almost called it WrestleMania, Bound for Glory finale. Halfway through this match, it was interrupted by, what the fuck do they call each other? It's like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, if that's their group or something like that. I think that's a movie. And I think that used to be a comic book back in the day. That Sean Connery movie came out back in the day. But it was Roode, Kazarian, and Daniels. They left everybody laying. At first, I thought that there was going to be like some sort of a screw job finish, and they were going to have to go to the tape to see who they hit first. And that's how they were going to pick who the winner of this match was. And I thought that was bullshit. But basically, they had all the refs come out. They got rid of them. They came back from commercial. I didn't really know what was going to be happening, but the match had just restarted during the commercial, and the guys were just fighting at it again. How the fuck? I'm trying to remember honestly how Styles won the match. I think he just won. I can't really remember, but I remember Magnus was just in shock after that thing. I don't think it was like a win that came out of the middle of nowhere. I think just Magnus was just sitting on the ramp, he couldn't believe how far he'd come. Almost winning the Bound for Glory series, getting to the finals, and just not being able to win the one more match. I definitely know that Dixie Carter loves Magnus, and I think Magnus will have a shot being there, whether it's a babyface or a heel for TNA. He's close. He's just not there yet. But AJ Styles is going to be moving on, and then I don't know. What took a little bit of wind out of my sails was that AJ did another shoot promo after doing this, making sure everybody tuned in to Impact next week, saying that Dixie Carter hadn't phoned him or texted him, emailed him, even tweeted him. They did a big deal about Twitter. Like, he just really put that over how much Dixie likes to tweet, and he didn't tweet him. I don't even know if AJ Styles is a Twitter. I've never really seen him tweet anything or anything to get a big buzz off of it. If he even has a Twitter, I don't even know if I follow it or not, but I don't think it's ever popped up in any news sites of him ever saying anything stupid or meaningful. If he does, please let me know. Maybe he just has one where he's trying to sell some t-shirts. I'm not sure, but basically this is going to be turned into a whole storyline of AJ is going to fight Bully Ray at the pay-per-view, but at the time, right now, they're just almost looking at like the CM Punk angle of 2011. Not the one where he did the pipe bomb and all that shit, but the one where, it came down to Money in the Bank and he didn't have a contract. I think everybody's seen the news how AJ Styles has a contract extension that's going to run through the end of the year. And Bound for Glory is going to be in October 19th. It's like almost a month from now. I better start packing. But what are they going to do after that? Is AJ going to sign some sort of a long-term deal? I think that if I can remember what Alvarez and Meltzer said was that the money is less money than he's making now. But more than likely, unless he takes a gamble and goes to WWE, it's less money. It's more money than he's going to get anywhere else, I think you can say. TNA is really trying to cut costs. They're really not trying to sort of lowball Styles. They're just trying to give him an offer that they know that they can survive for. They're sort of like a Major League Baseball team that's sort of like on the Royals or the Pirates level. Sort of like with the Pirates and McCutcheons. They can make him one of the most paid players in baseball. But then what's that going to do to their team? They won't have money to, pay the people that work in the office, pay the people that put on the field with them. Almost like when I remember watching the Wayne Gretzky documentary about him being traded from the Oilers to the Kings, and he had to go to the ownership of the Kings and be like, I know that you want to give them everything in the world because you want to make sure that I come here, but if I come here and you don't have anybody for me to play with, we're not going to win. You got to get me somebody. You got to get me something. And then we can see where we can go from there. TNA has to look out for themselves, and we're going to have to see. But for the next few weeks, it's going to be AJ versus Dixie. And I don't know how much we're going to like that. But as of right now, Bound for Glory, 2 thumbs up. AJ Styles or Bully Ray. This is what we've all been waiting for. It's just not really how we thought we would get here.